Matters in the marriage. Let's talk about it. Matters in the marriage. Let's talk about it. By Dr. Christiana Akede. Let's talk about it. By Dr. Christiana Akede. Let's talk about it. Matters in the marriage. Let's talk about it. Matters in the marriage. Let's talk about it.
Oh, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, worldwide, wherever you're watching, and welcome to Matters in Marriage. It's my pleasure to be speaking with us today on a topic that is very, very interesting. I just want you to know that marriage is beautiful. Marriage is ordained by God. Marriage is the institution that God puts together to meet the need of humanity. Sometimes marriage can be messy, but God definitely can fix every mess in your marriage relationship. I welcome you today. I'm going to be talking about a topic that I'm very passionate about, and that is how to manage political differences, the views about politics in your relationship. As a person that is very, very political inclined, like myself, sometimes discussing politics can become an issue in your relationship. And so we just want to share a few ideas that will help us to navigate through our political differences, how we can manage it so that it doesn't have a negative impact on our relationship. And if you are living in the United States of America, you definitely know that this is the time and the season where we are going to be having the election. And I've seen and I've read quite a few of articles of families, relationships, breaking up because couples have differing political view. And I don't think it's supposed to be like that. So tonight, wherever you are watching, I'm just going to be sharing a few points to consider even in this tense political atmosphere that we are currently experiencing. And it doesn't really matter wherever you are, all over the countries of the world. There will come a time, there will be election, there will be policy, there will be political activities happening and taking place. So I just want to give us few ideas on how to, navigate the season. Because we know sometimes we are not always going to be on the same page as couples. And that is good also. There's nothing bad in it. So I'm going to share my own personal experience. I think it was 2004, 2004. There was an election in the United States of America. And it was like a major, a presidential election. And it was, the candidates were like, this candidate that, because of my color, I don't want to be mentioning names on the cast. However, myself and my husband, we actually have two opposite view about that election and our candidate's choice. So sometimes we will have a very heated argument. And sometimes, we will just brush it over and just move on. But currently, we've seen situations where marriages, are actually suffering because of differing political views. So I just want to be able to share some light and just have this conversation whereby your marriage should last and can last much more than a political cycle. All right. Politicians themselves, they have this thing they say. They say there's no permanent enemy and there is no permanent friends. So you can see politicians themselves going across the aisle to reach compromises. I mean, you see politicians themselves even switching parties. So no permanent enemy, and there is no permanent friends, even in politics. So number one, what I want to say is, don't make a permanent decision based on a temporary problem. Don't make a permanent decision based on a temporary fluid problem. All right? And I understand also that if care is not taken, political differences can add to the plate of the many things that we have differences on. Because some people in their relationship, they have differences on how to raise kids. They have differences on how to manage their finances. They have differences on, some other things, in as much as also they have some common ground. And so if care is not taken, differing political view can add another layer to the bucket of differences that can be in a marriage relationship. So I'm just here to encourage you. Don't let political situation, political policies, don't let political candidates be a deterrent to your joy, to your peace, to the growth, and to the intimacy that is supposed to be flourishing in your relationship. All right. So number one strategy that I want to share with you is, as a couple, even though you have different political view, never cease to pray for one another. It's very important, because you are not praying to convert your spouse into your own political circle. No, you're not doing that. You are praying that God can use even the differences you have politically to strengthen your relationship, to strengthen your marriages. That God will give you the ability and the capability to be able to bear with one another even as we go through this season. All right? Praying always for each other is very, very important. Not even only during the political seasons or whatever. I mean, on daily basis, praying for your spouse is recommended, because you know already that the first enemy to marriage is the devil, and the enemy wants to use anything whatsoever to penetrate into your marriage, to tear the marriage apart, to cause each other to begin to resent each other, to be looking and hearing each other with a contempt. Don't allow the enemy to use politics to tear you apart. That's number one. Number two, respect yourself and respect your partner. Respect them and respect yourself. Don't use politics as a tool to demean one another. Don't use each other's political view or differences to belittle one another. This can be a situation where you begin to size your partner as being ignorant or as being a lack of intelligence because he's having a different political view. No. Our views are all shaped by our background, by our upbringing, by our experiences, and also by our religion. Our faith do shape our political view. So respect your partners as a person. You may not agree with the view, but do respect. This is your husband. This is your wife. You still hold your partner in a high esteem. You still love your partner. So what I'm trying to say is, don't throw the water and the bucket away. No, don't throw the bucket and the content away. And don't take the political view of your partner. Don't take it as a personal situation. It's not. Because politics comes and go. Candidate comes and go. They're not forever. Policy do change. Nothing is permanent. Nothing is permanent. But our relationship, God has called our relationship to be forever, to last forever. So don't trash each other because our political views are not the same. Actually, it's good to celebrate our differences. That's number 2. Don't take things personal, and respect yourself and respect your partner's view. Number 3, communication. It's really, really important for the two of you to have an open mind, so much so that you can communicate. You can discuss on policies. You can discuss on the candidates. You can discuss on so many things, but don't let bitterness and resentment into the conversation. Be the bigger person. Have an open mind. Hear your partner's view. Hear the policy. See where they stand. And that still does not mean you have to be converted into that your partner's political view. Actually, there is no right or wrong political party, to me personally, because each party, no matter where it is all over the world, there will be the good one, there will be good policy, and there will be bad policy. So whichever way your partner wants to, lean towards, have a honest and an open communication. Don't communicate with anger either. Don't communicate with pride and selfishness, because that is the root of dispute a lot of times. Those are the things that hinder a smooth, loving conversation. When we throw in our emotions, when we begin to throw in anger, when we begin to relish our ego, when we begin to say, oh, I know more than you, my party is better than your party, no, there's no good or bad party. No, policy comes and policy change. So communication, have an open mind, be receptive, listen, communicate. Look at the policies which you guys have that you agree on, and the one that you disagree on, well, that's fine. That should not create tension in your relationship. But I do understand that some relationship actually having problems already. This can be an additional problem if the foundation of the marriage, for example, if couples already have things that they're concealing within them, this can add additional tension to the relationship. Lack of communication. Let's communicate. Let's talk about it. Let's have an open conversation. It's important. Hear my view, I hear your view. I mean, I just know that maybe in this part of the world, when you are voting, nobody is actually going to be there to see who you actually voted for, okay? Who you actually vote for. So you and your one ballot vote is sacred. It's sacred. So, I mean, you can vote for whosoever you want to vote for. It's up to you, And and sometimes, even in our relationship, we may have a political view in this season, and as we begin to grow in life, our political stand can change. I know myself. I know my political view has changed. It has been upgraded. I've read a lot. I've listened to a lot. So allow your partner to grow, even in every area of life. Maybe he used to agree with this policy. Maybe now he or she doesn't agree with the policy anymore. That's okay. That's 100% okay. All right. I spoke about praying for your relationship. I spoke about respect, and don't take things personal. Don't take politics personal. I talk about communicating with an open mind. Don't communicate with anger, with resentment, with bitterness, with pride, with selfishness. No, with ego. No, be humble. because your marriage is much more bigger than politics. Yeah. And sometimes I just say to myself, why do we even fight? Why do you even have contention? Because these politicians, they're moving on with their own life. They're enjoying their life. You get what I'm saying? So it's okay. Okay. If possible, discuss policies. Discuss policy. Is it the education policy? Maybe economical policy. Discuss policies rather than having conversation based on, feelings. Just based on random feelings that's not founded. So take opportunity, learn about the policies that you are supporting, and be able to have a clear-cut conversation with your partner. All right, number 5, if politics is going to bring too much headache in your relationship, I will strongly advise to keep politics out of the home. I repeat again. If both parties cannot handle a honest, transparent, open communication about politics in their relationship, it's better to keep politics outside of the home. You may say, oh, but my home should be where I should be able to have all the honest and open conversation. But it's hurting your marriage. It's hurting your partner. So if that is happening, then keep it out. Don't invite the devil into your home by yourself. I listened long time ago to a lady, and she was sharing with us, like, she has a particular friend and her husband doesn't like that person. And the reason why the husband doesn't like the person, according to that lady, was because the husband was out of state. So to him, whenever he is available or whenever he comes to visit his family, he wants to have 100% attention of his wife. And it so happened that whenever he is around, that's when the friend calls, taking attention, her wife's attention away from him. And so she said to us, and this was creating a lot of problems in my marriage. I want to have my husband, but I also want to have my friend. I don't want to have my friend, I don't have my husband. I don't want to have my husband, I don't have my friend. She said, so I devised a means. When the weekend that my husband is coming, I let my friend knows not to call me between certain time and certain time. Or if she wants to call, I'll send her a text. I'll be doing grocery shopping between this time and this time. Let us talk at that time. That way, she was able to manage her friendship outside of her husband's bias against it. She was able to keep her home. She was able to keep her friend. She let her friend know, I'm going to be talking to you whenever I'm doing my grocery shopping. That's when I have the opportunity to actually talk to you. So sometimes some things that might be causing problems for us in our relationship, we can take it outside of the home. It doesn't mean that you are being controlled. It doesn't mean your husband doesn't want compromise, or maybe your wife doesn't want compromise. No, it's just your ability to keep the problem at bay. Keep it at bay. Take politics outside of your home. Don't discuss politics at home if your spouse cannot handle it. One of the ways also that you can keep politics out of your home, for example, if you know a television station that's constantly is against your view or your partner's view, then why going to watch it? Or if you have the means, you can be watching yours in a place and in one place, and your spouse can be watching in another place. if you have the means of, if you have the opportunity of having 2 television stations or something, or sometimes you hear something about politics, or you want to quickly share it with your husband or with your wife or with your spouse, and the response you are getting from it is not the response that you wanted. So sometimes you feel down. Sometimes you feel like, oh, he's not even in the same party with me. No, keep it at bay. Your marriage is more than politics, honey. Your home is more important to God than politics. And like I said, politicians, they always say there's no permanent friend and there's no permanent enemy. But your marriage is permanent by the special grace of God. Your marriage is more than that. You can see them today, they are red, tomorrow they are blue. They are blue today, they are red tomorrow. So don't let that one cause tension in your marriage. Policies do change. And lastly, like I want to also say, remember, no matter the conversation, no matter the disagreement, always come back full cycle. Come back full circle. Like one of my friends always say, come back full circle. Means we have disagreed, the disagreement has ended. Now let's come back to our normal life. Let's come back to our normal relationship. We've ended it. We cannot be bottling it up. We cannot be carrying it everywhere. We cannot be feeling all gloom and doom and doom and and attitude and stuff. No. Once you are done with your disagreement, then hold each other's hand again. You know what? Doesn't matter whatever the politics is. I still love you and I love you. You are my husband. You are my wife. I love you. And then we move forward. So that's what I want to share with you quickly. Managing political differences, even as we're in the United States of America, as we're preparing for the election. Don't let politics add to the plate of differences or the challenges that you are having. I did say pray. I also said have open communication. I also said respect each other. Don't take things personal. I also said take politics out of the home. If politics is not doing you well, don't engage in it. And lastly, remember to always come back full cycle. You love each other. You're husband and wife. You are meant for each other. God is going to bless your marriage. You're going to live long together. And election is going to come and go. You come back full cycle. Embrace one another. Forgive one another. And your marriage will be beautiful. All right. That's all I want to share with you. You have a very, very wonderful time. I love you. Talk to you. Bye.